Hi, Mark here from the Tangibound Podcast Network and host of the flagship show, the Tangibound Podcast. Did you know that we over at Tangibound are always looking for amazing podcasts to promote? And did you also know that we are also proud nerds and geeks of everything from movies, music, gaming, TV shows, and comic books to wrestling, MMA, soccer, and football? Whatever you can nerd or geek out about, we've got it. And if you're interested, we can help you find it. And if you're a show looking for a place to call home, we've got you covered. Side effects may include upset stomach, dizziness, tumors, shakes, and in some rare cases, death from excessive laughter. Though to be fair, it's only sometimes. Other side effects may include diarrhea, gallstones, heart palpitations, and strong desire for cookies on the dark side. Talk to your doctor and visit TangiboundNetwork.com and see if Tangibound Network is right for you.
We're not doctors, therapists, trained professionals of any kind, so if you feel you do need help, please reach out and get the help you need. We have a whole list of things on our files page over on Facebook at facebook.com/crazylifepodcast, and or just search on the internet for the suicide prevention hotline number, or go to NAMI.org or whatever resource you can find. But just please reach out for help if you need it. If you feel as though you're going to harm yourself or others, definitely reach out. And try not to be alone. Also, if you feel that way and you realize that you're writing a note or making plans of how you would do, like harm yourself or others, definitely reach out. That's a huge red flag. And lastly, please do not replace the idea of therapy with listening to this show. Again, if you need help, please reach out and get the help that you need, or contact us. We can try to help you find the help that you need.
Life sucks to the last drop. Are you gonna blow your head off? Take good aim and don't forget to duck. Life sucks every Monday and all the way to Sunday, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't care how you're doing, what's up or how's it hanging. I'd like to buy this world one last drink. Life sucks all of the time, stick it up your sunshine, and then you'll see the clouds every day. And then you'll see the clouds every day. And then you'll see the clouds every day.
Welcome to The Crazy Life, everyone. My name's Jen. I am your hostess for the evening, and with me, as always, we have Brian and Henno. Hey, guys.
Hi.
What it do?
What it do? What it don't?
I guess, yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know either.
How you guys doing?
How you doing? I had a weird freaking week.
Perfect.
I'm gonna have a great week because I'm getting, or a great month because I'm getting a 3-day weekend for the next 3 weeks.
Nice.
But I had a weird thing happen to me this week where something on Twitter, it's basically a raffle, upset me.
Oh, really?
And then I felt really gross about it.
Really?
Yeah, and like it really affected me.
Oh, wow.
All of a sudden I was like, this is stuff. These are things. There are people right now who don't have a parent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a place
Virus.
to live, or, yeah, all sorts of things going on.
Or
yeah.
their parents don't have a business anymore.
Yeah.
Or what? There are kids not having a Christmas.
Right.
And I was instantly like, let's go. And I was texting with Neil. And I'm like, let's go to October 7th. In my daily reflection reading thing, what does it say? Let's see. Every time we are disturbed, no matter what the cause, there's something wrong with us. That tells me that there are no exceptions to it, no matter how unreasonable others may seem. I am responsible for not reacting negatively. Regardless of what is happening around me, I will always have the prerogative and the responsibility of choosing what happens within me. I am the creator of my own reality. When I take my daily inventory, I know that I must stop judging others. If I judge others, I'm probably judging myself. Whoever's upsetting me the most is my best teacher. I have much to learn from him or her, and in my heart, I should thank that person. And in my heart, I thanked that person for reminding me what is important. And I made donations to a couple of organizations. And I'm buying a really nice gift for one of my bandmates, kind of our band leader, who is, and so not only is he on the board of the local church, he's on the board of the Advocates, which is a shelter for women that are, domestic violence. And he set up a free clinic for COVID testing recently, started his own nonprofit. And this is all on top of his own private practice as a physician. And I'm buying him this gift. It's a very nice gift. And the other guys in the band are going to contribute to it. And I'm just like, you know what? Now I feel gross. And I really did. I just had this overwhelming feeling of consumerism.
Yeah.
It hit me really hard. And I was like, and it's not because of anything that I've bought or anything like that. That's not the point. It's, like anything that I own, I will consider whether it's something that I need, and I will do something. But I am so thankful that I got a little smack upside the head about what's important. And we had this thing done at our grocery store where they put up a Christmas tree, and all on the Christmas tree are hung gifts for kids in the valley who don't have something.
Oh, nice.
That tree everything gets pulled off of it, always. One of the things Sharon's doing right now for her client is literally she's going to be getting a big, huge, vast pile of gifts, and she has to wrap them all and bring them down. It's for the Advocates. And so they're kids of these families.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, I'm going down there.
That's a really good thing. And I think places like that really get overlooked. Because everyone this time of year wants to give to food banks and homeless shelters, which, don't get me wrong, I'm not in any way advocating not doing that. But a lot of these domestic survivor places and stuff really could use some help. They don't get all the, for lack of a better term, flash and attention of the other places. So I've seen various people donating toys and stuff like that to them this year, especially, and stuff. And it's really good because, that's such a horrible situation to have to go through. And on top of that, potentially, like, hey, you've got to live in this shelter. You may not have enough money or anything to get your kid. It's just thing on top of thing, and all of them are that way. So that's why I said I'm not telling anyone exactly where to spend their money, but I think it's awesome that people are also noticing those shelters more maybe than they used to, or maybe I'm just hearing about it more. I don't know which, but I'm glad people are also, noticing those.
Yeah, these are people that get out with their life.
Yeah.
They don't have clothes, they don't have car, they don't have a job, they have nothing.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're able to have their children with them too, and there's families, and they've got the Advocates have done a great job of buying up properties and buying houses and stuff and apartments and whatever they can so that so people could have housing and stuff.
Awesome.
And so yeah, it really is. And I needed it. I needed the kind of the gut punch. And it also made me look at, like, what content am I listening? Am I absorbing? So much of pop culture is retail based, and yes, these are wonderful escapes, but what are we escaping? And what am I listening to? And I did this instant culling of what I listened to on podcasts. I had a bunch of books that I have lined up to listen to. I went back to my books.
Really quick, sorry, I interrupt you here. is I think it's really interesting when you mention the consumerism and stuff, because I was just having a conversation a couple days ago with my mom about, you know, you keep seeing on the news how there's lines of people waiting for food in places right now, you know, because so many people have been hit by the pandemic and the economic ripples of that. And just all these struggles, people losing their houses and all this other stuff. And I'm like, and I was kind of like, you know, it's such a tough one, because this is one of those years where if there were ever a year to, air quote, justify the consumerism escape, it's this year for a lot of people, you know, because you want something bright to happen, but also the amount of lives that could be changed by people doing very little is also enormous this year. There's so many people that if various people could give $5, $10, you know, instead of buying that 15th gift for somebody, or maybe not spend quite as much and just donate a little bit, the amount of people that could be helped by that is enormous. I mean, it always is. That need is always there. But even more so this year with how many people have really been hurt, and, you know, not to be political, but our government's doing jack squat about it as far as helping at this point. So we, you know, it's so tough to me. You know, they had a thing on the news tonight was showing a guy who his business got shut down because of coronavirus and whatnot. And he's basically started up a charity to where he basically is cooking every day, and he served like 5,000 meals to people in need so far. You know, it's like he took a situation where something bad happened to him and basically went, how can I try to make sure bad things or improve something for someone else? That's ultimate perspective right there, you know?
That's all about service and getting out of yourself.
Yeah,
And that's
exactly.
this is what it came down to.
Right.
Is when
Sorry,
I'm
that took
texting
me
back
a
and
long
forth.
time to get to that, but that's where I was going with all this.
So Neil asked me, what is it? Because sometimes I feel the same way. And I said, well, I guarantee it has something to do with me being on the self-centered part of the beam rather than the other-centered part of the beam. And that's just a fact.
Yeah.
And you know, I had to go back and focus on where I have been generous with others and giving to others. And I had to look at that because I really did not feel good. Like I felt really icky. And it was a good thing, and it's a blessing, and I needed it. And it really, like I said, it smacked me in the head. And, you know, I want to take my time and go do more for, you know, whatever I could do with my community, which obviously is very difficult to do right now. But what I will do is I will just focus on what's in front of me, which is, you know, go to work, be the best of service there, finish up our album with the band. That's also my service opportunity, you know, where I get to contribute not only for my own joy, but for other people's joy, doing our passions. And I just needed that reminder. And, you know, it's not like, oh, I got to run and sell everything, but I am going to take stock. Right now, I've got a great opportunity. I've got some extra days coming up in the next few weeks that I can, you know, kind of really feel like I'm in the right place. What's always hard is I will the win is to also accept the fact that I do have a quality of life and a type of living that I like, and it works for me and you know, and Sharon, and there's no reason for me not to do that. It's, you know, it's who I am. I'm very privileged in a lot of ways. I just want to do it with the right attitude.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being comfortable and happy and consuming, but like you were saying before, like we're always talking on here, it's where you got to, you know, finding that balance. And if you feel like you're kind of getting too far one way, then okay, what can be done? I actually had a similar. Do you have more to go into, or?
No, that was
okay.
it.
I didn't want to cut you off again. I've already cut you off like 10 times, so I'll just go next then, if that's okay, Jen. I've been doing that too because, you know, it's no secret. I love like the Funko Pops. You know, I absolutely love them, and I was looking, though, at, like, the room I'm sitting in, which people can't see. You guys can see a little bit, but you can't see anywhere near. I have boxes of these things, right? And I like them, but literally I've got a good size collection of them. So it's similar to back when I wanted to get rid of my comic books, in that it's like, okay, I have a ton of these. I can't possibly enjoy all of them anymore. And like comic books, I'm not going to go back and keep rereading them because, I don't want to depreciate value. And like the Pops, they're all in the boxes. I don't have any of them on display anywhere. And I was looking at this and I was just like, I think it's time to downsize them. I think it's time to really go through and say, okay, what are the ones, like the wrestling ones, have more meaning to me than a lot of them. Because, I've been a wrestling fan, a pro wrestling fan since I was a little kid, so those have a different level. And there's certain other ones that are from, like my Lion King ones, or certain ones that I have that are very much my Ken Griffey Jr., which is a, sort of rare one that I have no interest in getting rid of because he was my favorite baseball player for a long time, stuff like that. But there's also a lot of them that I bought because I was just like, hey, that's kind of cool, or, oh, that's neat, or, and it's like, I think it's maybe time to get rid of a lot of those. There was a reason why when I was a little kid, I used to get Hot Wheels cars all the time because I loved playing with them, right? And they were cool. My dad used to work on cars, and there were times that my dad would mask off my Hot Wheels cars and paint them for me with like real car paint, not like by hand, but with a paintbrush. But he would just shoot them with, whatever color he was spraying that day. He'd be, he would do it. And it was kind of, it was cool. It was, something that not everybody got. I had custom cars because my dad, would shoot them with, car paint and then put a clear coat on them. And, unfortunately, I beat them up so bad that I don't have them anymore because I got rid of them because they were so beat up. So, otherwise I would probably still keep those, especially because, that's a kind of a piece of my, memories with my dad. But I still have some Hot Wheels cars, but I only collect the Mustangs because my dad got me collecting Mustangs when I was younger. So now whenever I see a Hot Wheels Mustang, the single packs, I mean just the plain Hot Wheels. I don't do the like $3 or $5 ones very often. It's usually the ones that are $1. So worst case scenario, every once in a while I grab one and it's $1, kind of a thing. But even still, if I sit and think about it, I've probably got a few hundred Mustangs, like, and even though it's only $1 and you don't miss it, when you go, I'm still got $300 worth of Mustangs sitting here, And same with the Funko Pops, as I look at it, and it's like, I have so many of these that it's like, I just feel like I feel like I'm being, this year's really made me look a lot at like, kind of like you were saying, Heno, is that, what kind of consumer am I being? Is this who I want to be? And is there something else I'd rather do either with that money, or would I rather maybe, donate or give some money away to help someone else rather than, because even though I don't have a job, I don't have a regular income, there's a lot of things I don't have. I also am very blessed, and I very, very much understand I'm still very privileged, so I've kind of been going through a little bit of that crisis myself, very recently, in fact. So I think that's probably going to be coming soon from me. The problem is I got to sort through all of them. Luckily, when I box them, I put a card on the outside that tells me what's in it. So I can just look at that and go, okay, I want to get that one, and just, or I don't want any of these out of here, whatever. So, it'll be a little easier, but it's still, it's still a chore ahead of me. But one that ultimately, I think having that space back will make me feel better. Because again, just like comic books, when you've got boxes and boxes and boxes of comics, they take up a ton of space. So, it'd be nice to kind of just have that room again, as well as that peace of mind that every time I look around, I don't just go, look at me amassing all the stuff. You know, I kind of feel like I'm hitting that, you know, it's almost like, oh, look at me sitting on my crown of gold, looking at other gold around me. You know, I'm kind of getting that feeling. And like
Yep,
you were saying,
that's-
Heno, you kind of feel a little icky about it. So,
Yep.
especially now when I'm seeing on TV, like just how many people just don't have food. You know, it kills me. I wish I had more influence and power to enact change. But like anything else, you know, you can't change the world by yourself. So just change, you know, make the changes you can make. And hopefully it ripples. So, yeah. Other than that for the week, I don't know, it's been pretty quiet. So I haven't really done a whole bunch. You know, aside from, you know, just the normal existential dread, you know, that kind of stuff.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on the news, looking at stuff with the, you know, the COVID vaccine and whatnot, because I really like to see that glint of hope in people's eyes again. You know,
Yeah.
and I hope things turn out well with this and everything, but it's so nice to see people kind of hopeful again, instead of a sarcastically saying, when this is all over, you know, the way we've been doing for months now, people are saying it and actually, I think, sort of believing it again. So, you know, again, grain of salt, very cautious optimism, but still nice to feel a little hope again, you know, especially this time of year when a lot of people, this is usually the season when people kind of are like, you know, they start getting hopeful because we're getting close to the new year, you know, the fresh start of the new year, which we've talked about on here before, which is why wait 2 more weeks when just make that fresh start now. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, that's been, I think, it for me. I can't think of anything else.
Cool. Yeah, it's been a pretty normal week. Nothing too crazy going on. Just the usual work, commute to the couch.
It's a tough commute. Yeah.
It is a tough commute. Let me tell you, that traffic jam that happens in front of the fridge is murder.
Yeah.
Trying to get through there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, pretty much, you know, it's tough because I have to really be in tune with my mental health and making sure that I stay on top of things, because you know, I don't leave the house for days at a time right now because I'm working from home.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really, really easy for me to kind of get really, really comfortable with being isolated and not interacting and just kind of.
I don't think so. A lot of people understand, like I've said this about depression before, that like literally isolation and depression can be the warmest hug.
Yeah.
And it's weird to say that, but it's so true. It's so easy to fall into them and be comfortable.
So I have a feeling I'm really going to struggle when I'm going back to the office full time. They extended it into January, maybe even February, working from home. So it's going to be almost an entire year that I've worked from home. And I'm really enjoying it. But I can honestly say I do not think it is the healthiest thing for me to be doing.
Yeah, it's interesting how many people have said that. How at first a lot of people were like, "This is the greatest. I can stay in my PJs. I can blah blah blah. You know, I don't have to worry about, you know, my dogs all day, all these things." But now I think people are at that point that, like you said, where it's like, I don't know if this is the best thing for me mental health wise. And a lot of people are drinking more. They just had a thing on the news tonight about that, about how a lot of people, because they're working from home, are, you know, casually drinking more. And that, you know, there may be some real issues with that coming out of this.
I mean, we're going to see ripple effects from this for years to come.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no question. We're just, it's not going to be, the vaccine's wonderful and I'm super excited for it, but it is not a magic pill that's going to cure all our ills and put everything right again. And, you know, it's just not. It's going to take us a
while.
long time to
Yeah.
kind of get back on level footing, our mental health, our physical health.
Well, and in a lot of ways, it's going to be like emerging from a bunker, to
Yeah.
where we're kind of like, okay, what does the world look like now? How do we readjust to, like you were saying, like, how do you go from working at home 5 days a week or 4 days a week or whatever people are working to, oh, now I have to go back to the office 5 days a week. It's like, you remember when you were a kid and it was time to go back to school, and that first few weeks you're like, oh, this is horrible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And just trying to figure it all out. I mean, it's just a lot. And with the holidays approaching, I'm a huge Christmas person.
Mm-hmm.
I usually have 6 to 7 different events within a matter of 3 to 4 days.
Sorry, Jen, to interrupt you one more time, because it's something I want to say before I forget, because I keep forgetting to ask you. When you wear your Christmas sweater that you got for this year,
yes,
can you please post that on our Facebook group?
Yes.
So people can see the wonder that it is.
For those who have not heard, I found a tinsel dress. It's green tinsel with red velvet bows and sequin snowflakes. It is pretty freaking amazing.
It's something. Yep.
Just an ornament, huh?
Yes, and I have a matching Christmas tree hat that goes with it that Brian did not know about.
It sounds like you are the tree and the ornaments.
Oh my
And you
goodness.
just need some lights.
Oh my goodness.
Well, pretty much any light that hits the tinsel dress makes it sparkle in every way, shape, or form.
You need like some leggings with lights on them, just to really set it off.
I do enjoy myself an ugly Christmas sweater, and I think this year is going to take the cake of all the different ugly Christmas sweaters I've had over the years. It's pretty amazing, and I paid full price for that sucker.
Which for anyone who doesn't know, Jen doesn't pay full price for clothes very often, so this is a real statement here.
No, I don't pay full price for much of anything.
Yeah.
But as soon as I saw it, it was the angel sang moment. The skies opened up, the light came down on the dress, and it was yeah, completely mine. And to make things even better, it's kind of cut large. So the size I picked up was too big. So I had to take it back and get the next size down. So any woman out there, honest guys too, if you have to like downsize your clothes, you're like, hoo-hoo.
Yeah.
It's a great feeling. So it's even a smaller size.
Mm-hmm.
It's the perfect outfit. So I'm going to be wearing it on the 26th, actually, because I have gone from 6 to 7 events for Christmas to 1, maybe 2.
Yeah.
So we will see. One is on the fence right now, so we have to find out for sure what's going on with that. But on the 26th, I'm having my family over. My mom, my dad, and my brother will be over, and we're doing our family Zoom with my mother's extended family. And I will be festive in my Christmas outfit and my Christmas hat.
Oh, boy.
And I'll have my Christmas tree behind me. So I'll literally be glowing on the Zoom.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so it should be entertaining.
You definitely got to make sure you get a picture of yourself in front of the tree, all in your full regalia.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, so I am getting my Christmas spirit. I can't remember if I mentioned it on the podcast last week. I apologize because things have gotten a little fuzzy this last week or so as to who I've talked to about what. But my stepfather-in-law passed away last week. And so we do have a funeral coming up that got postponed due to COVID-related situations. So that's going to be on the 23rd. And It's my 4th funeral of the year, which that's just way the hell too many.
Yeah.
And especially this time of year, it's so weird having the dichotomy of you'll get a wave of, man, that's really sad, and that reminds me of him, and you just kind of, have that wave of nostalgia and sadness,
Yeah.
and then followed by, let's hear those sleigh bells ringing,
Yeah.
red-nosed reindeer, and you're like, oh, peppy
Yeah.
and cheery, okay, I can get behind peppy and cheery and bright lights and pretty things.
Yeah.
And then so it's just, you can kind of go back and forth, and then trying to figure out what's okay and accepting that is okay, whatever it is. And, as we talked about on the podcast before, feelings are nouns. They are things. You can't control them. You can't do anything about them. They just exist. So you have to feel them and then choose your reaction to them. Because that's where your choice comes in, is you can choose how you process, how you react, what your actions are based upon the emotions, yes. But the emotions are emotions. So I've been really working hard on if I'm sad, I'm sad. If I'm happy, I'm happy. If I'm not so either, I'm not so either. And wherever I'm at, I'm okay with, and I'm just going to sit in it, and I'm just going to process it and do what I can to move through it in the most effective manner possible and non-destructive manner possible, preferably.
Yeah.
And then, so it's just been going. And then Monday I have an appointment with my psychiatrist, so we should have a good talk.
Yeah, good.
But yeah, things are going pretty status quo.
Well, good.
So I guess with that's kind of my week. And Brian, you have the article for us this week?
Yeah, this is from Tiny Buddha, and it's by Lori Deschênes, who is the founder of Tiny Buddha. And it's about how to safely enjoy the pandemic holidays. And this isn't this isn't anything about, wear a mask, blah, blah. This is more like the mental health part of things and whatnot. So, I don't want anyone to think I'm, really beating you over the head with whatever. But still, the first one in here is caution. It said it's the biggest one and hardest one to swallow and follow. But it says, as much as we'd like to throw caution to the wind and end the year celebrating with all the people we love, we still need to protect themselves. And this is the one part of it that is, make sure you're safe and all those kind of things. Because, look, we all know this is the one holiday a year that people are going to just basically really do what they want to do, because it means so much to so many people that there's still a lot of people who are just going to, just basically do whatever. But there's others that have canceled things. And, that's why we see the post office, severely behind, or part of the reason they're severely behind this year. A lot of people sending gifts and stuff. So, just as we always say, just please be safe and all that kind of stuff. The next one is communication. It says, I imagine you've experienced different people hold vastly different perspectives on what constitutes caution, and some are willing to take greater risks. And she said, if you're considering gathering with family, it's essential to clarify where everyone stands, what precautions everyone's taking in their daily life, and what precautions will be followed on the day itself. Don't assume you know how anyone thinks unless they've clearly communicated it, because it's quite possible you're wrong. And that kind of goes back, I think, like Heno mentioning when he went home, that where it was like, we're doing this is the plan. We had, it's just a good idea this year to kind of have those things in place, more so than normal, along with deciding who's bringing what or whatever. Also kind of, hey, what are the, what precautions are being taken to make sure we're all safe. That way, we can do this again next year and everything.
Yeah, what's everyone comfortable with?
Right.
I think that's the key.
Yeah.
And then again, listen.
Right, which leads into the next one, kind of, which is empathy. It says this can be a tough one. When people make choices that may seem reckless to you, or they push beliefs you just can't agree with, you may feel hurt, frustrated, or even outraged. It's hard to separate a person from their choices, especially when it involves something as emotionally loaded as pandemic safety, and it's hard not to take it personally if their choices seem selfish to you. I've been here recently, and took it very personally. I got upset, I criticized, I judged. What I didn't do is change anyone's opinion, or in any way better the situation. I realized I needed to empathize with people who see things differently than me. Even if I wouldn't make the same choices, I need to understand the feelings behind them and focus on that. It doesn't mean we need to condone decisions we don't agree with or in any way put ourselves at risk. It just means we accept what we can't control and choose love over righteousness, however warranted it may feel. And it can also be a situation where, like, with the communication, hey, what's the plan? What's blah, blah, blah. And if you don't feel comfortable with the plan, you can make, different decisions based on that as well. And hopefully people will, whatever your decision is there, hopefully people will, respect it and that kind of stuff, even though it's very difficult. The next one, self-compassion. Odds are things haven't been easy for you. Even if you're healthy, have a job and a roof over your head, and haven't lost any loved ones, this year probably took a toll on your mental health. You may feel lonely, discouraged, overwhelmed, impatient, or even downright depressed right now. You may also feel frustrated to have to change your usual holiday plans at a time when you could really use a little extra love, and joy, and connection. It's okay to feel frustrated. It's okay to feel whatever you're feeling, like Jen just said, even if you know you're fortunate. It's hard to be far from people we love, especially around the holidays, and to miss the traditions we value most. Be extra gentle with yourself and know it's okay if your gratitude is mixed with a wide range of complex emotions. And that's a really good one, like you said, Jen, is, especially in your situation to where you're still so close to and part of the grieving process, that trying to just, air quotes, suck it up or bury it because it's Christmas and no one wants to hear, no one wants Debbie Downer at the Christmas party. It's like, well, tough. This is how I feel. And if I want to sit in the corner and cry while White Christmas is playing, then that's what I'm going to do.
Well, part of my mom's family get-together this year, we're doing it via Zoom, as I mentioned. We're supposed to, as a family, tell of like a family Christmas story, something that happened throughout the year that we want to share with the family, and upbeat, whatever. And I was stopped and I was thinking about it, and I'm like, a little bit stumped. So I'm not sure exactly where we're going to go with it. My brother's got some pretty good news, so maybe I'll put it on his shoulders and say, guess what? You get to take one for the team.
Yeah.
So you get to tell everybody about the good news that you've got, because other than my mom coming to town, which is pretty amazing, and that is a really big, wonderful news.
Yeah.
Most of it has not been good stuff this year.
This is one of those times where I feel like I'm flipping the table on you here, in that I sort of feel like you're minimizing how important it is to you to have your mom back here because of the weight of the other stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
That is a massive thing for you because you're so close to your mom. And I know it meant obviously not the circumstances, but the fact that you get to have your mom close to you again, I know means a ton to you. So that might not be a bad one to go with. Plus, it's going to make your mom feel amazing to hear that. So,
well, my husband's already joking about having to schedule time with me because he spends so much time with your mother. He's like, when's the husband time? I'm like, pencil it in. We're getting our nails done on Saturday, but you could have Saturday evening.
Right. Well, if he acts fast,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Who knows and that's if something better doesn't come up. You got to keep your options open.
Mom's already talking about driving around looking at lights.
Yeah,
so.
Right? See, he could drive.
Yeah, he could drive.
Yeah.
You're right.
There you go.
You're right.
Problem solved. Just be like, here's what I need. You can drive. Just stay quiet, but you can drive. And no. Kidding.
There was a podcast I listened to this week about the virtual choir, and it was on 20,000 hertz. So if you go to the number 20k.org, the recent episode is called "Sing Gently," and they'd already done a show on the virtual choir, but it all changed this year when getting together with a group of people and singing became a hotspot. And there was a lot of frustration with that. And luckily, he'd already put the footwork into doing a virtual choir, which was just perfect. And they did a song, and it was called "Sing Gently," and it was about this idea that you just talked about, which is amazing. That it's very moving. It's if you want to have a nice little feel good quick podcast, check it out. It was really great.
Nice.
I'm curious, a virtual choir, how do they handle not buffering, but the
lag?
Yeah, the lag. Sometimes it happens.
Good engineering.
So, yeah, the most of it was all what people send in. They did do a live performance, and I was curious about that too. Is how did they do the live performance? Because you can. I know in my recording software, I can put in a delay so that everyone has, so it's a consistent delay. So they could have done something like that, but most of these productions are people will they download an app, and the app has the score, basically the notation and what they're singing, and then there'll be like an accompaniment, and then people just record themselves and send it. But like we're talking the last one, like the first one was like, and this guy's a composer. The first one was like 150. The next one was 1,000.
Wow.
It was 4,000 people.
Oh man!
Wow.
And the testimonials of people who are saying, since I went blind, I haven't been able to participate in a choir, but I can see a computer screen. And so this was the first time I was able to sing in, who knows how long. Or a guy from Cuba who couldn't upload, anything over a megabyte because of the restrictions, but they somehow got in touch with the government and made it happen. And it's just people from, young kids to older people and everything in between from all over the world. It's a great podcast. It'll give you the feels.
Nice. That's really cool. That's a good podcast anyway. They've had a lot of really good episodes on all sorts of different things over the years. So I've fallen way behind on that one. That's when I'll probably just go grab that episode and
it'll get you back into it.
Yeah, probably. That's what happens with a lot of shows like that, where I'll not listen to it for a while, and then I'll go back and listen to one. I'm like, man, I forgot how much I enjoy hearing the breakdown of this stuff, and then I'll listen to like 6 in a row or something like that.
It's just the way they set up the show is wonderful.
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. It is. It is a really well-produced podcast, which it should be, given that it's on sound. So it'd be really bad if it wasn't very well-produced.
If it wasn't, yeah.
I'd be like, okay. All right, so number 5 on this list is acceptance. Said, I know how tempting it is to live each day in resistance, especially when you've lost a lot or when when things seem unfair. I know how easy it is to get caught up in how things should be or were supposed to be or would be. Which I think, pausing there, I think that's a great point because Jen's talked on here before about mourning what could be or what should be or whatever. It's the reason why when someone dies young, it's part of why we mourn a lot differently than when someone's older and dies. Someone's 90 and dies, we go, well, they had a good life. If they're 25, we go, oh, they had their whole life ahead of them. We don't know that. They could have, maybe they had 2 more years if they wouldn't have died. We don't know how these things work. So I think it's a really interesting thing to try to avoid living in those things. Again, like we talk about depression and anxiety is try not to live in the past or the future, try to live now. Even though it is tough sometimes. She says, what I don't know is what you specifically have been through or what you're feeling right now. So please know I'm in no way suggesting acceptance is easy or that I'd be able to do it easily if I were in your shoes. I can only speak to the general idea of acceptance and how it frees us mentally when we stop fighting reality. Let go or be dragged. I know what we can accept and what we can't control. We're free to focus on the things we can control and make the best of them. I also know I feel better about the person I'm being and ultimately better about life when I come from a place of acceptance. Even if it takes time to get there, I'm lighter, more present, more accessible to the people around me, and more likely to see opportunities where before I only saw unfairness. Sorry, I had to clear my throat. This next one is perspective, which is a new topic for us. As with everything in life, this is all temporary. Things won't always be this way. These challenges, these feelings, they won't last forever. We will eventually get through this and we'll be able to live more freely. Though life won't be exactly the same for many, we will find a new normal and new reasons to smile as we adapt to life as it evolves. It may be hard to see that now. It may seem like this earthquake of an experience will send shockwaves for years and we'll never find our footing again. But we are amazingly resilient as people. Odds are you've been through some deeply trying experiences in your life and you've come out stronger, wiser, and maybe even enriched or having gone through what you've been through. Trust that. Odds are you will not only get through this, you will have many more reasons to smile and many more holidays to celebrate with the people you love. This one year will one day be a crazy story in all of our rearview mirrors, so long as we keep driving cautiously on this somewhat treacherous road before us.
And really, that's what it comes down to. And just keeping that perspective really makes a world of difference. And if you need to, gratitude lists help with the perspective. There's a lot of other techniques and stuff that are out there that help with it. Just try your best to really keep what's important in front of you and know that everything is temporary, like the article says.
Yeah. I think this is a really good year to do the practice of what a lot of people do at Thanksgiving, where they'll have everyone go around the table or whatever and say something you're thankful for. And I really think this is a good year to do that kind of more frequently, like maybe at your, holiday gatherings of whatever it is that you're celebrating, maybe do that or share it in, a family Facebook group if you have one or whatever. Just you don't know what, your perspective may help somebody else's perspective or theirs may help you, similar to Henno's talked about his men's groups, where sometimes someone will come in and they'll say something, and then even though he's been on the sober path much longer than them, new people still bring perspective to him, or people who've, I don't know what the word is. I don't want to say fallen off, but you know what I mean? Like where they've come back, let's say, they've brought perspective that's really helped others. And, you never know, no matter where you are in the path to whatever it is that you're going after, you don't know where somebody else's perspective might be slightly different than yours, even though you're heading the same way. So, I think you can really maybe help each other out. Plus, I think it's just good practice anyway, because there has been so much negativity around this year, that it's gotten to where, in a lot of ways, it's permeated into things it doesn't even belong in anymore. To where I've heard a lot of people pulling the old, like, when you're depressed, your brain's always lying to you. So literally you're looking for what's the next thing that's going to leap out at you. Like, what's the next bad thing? And I think a lot of us this year are working with that mentality. So, anything that can maybe help us find better perspective might be a strong move. Plus, again, and it can help, like, teaching the kids in the family, helping them with perspective as well, because this, this hasn't been easy on them either. So,
yeah, like one of the best lessons for any sort of conflict or unexpected change, is that idea of realizing that nothing's permanent. it's usually not personal, and being able to give it that type of perspective and to take that look at that is, letting yourself off, the hook, basically. Well, the whole idea of like that whole idea, there is no hook,
Right.
is we hook ourselves by making things personal, by making things permanent. If we really can take a step back, the reality is it's not permanent. And if we bring our life experience in it, anything that has happened to us, other than something actually took your life, a change happened in your life, whether it got better or worse, but it wasn't permanent. Whatever down that happened, for most situations, we got through it. Was our life the same? No, our life is not. It's not the same anymore.
Yeah.
But we get a new opportunity. We have a new opportunity to grow. We have a new opportunity to look at the world differently. And, my experience, once I was able to gain that perspective, I started to see like, oh yeah, things always did get better. And even though those times where I thought, really felt like this was it, this was the bottom. And I think this is the key for, especially when, if it becomes a really dark day, is to try to remember those times where, the old, phrase, this too shall pass. Think of all those times where it did pass.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it doesn't feel like it's going to, but it will.
It's just like the waves. I mean, if you think about it, the waves, they come in, they go out, they come in, they go out. There's a lot of consistency behind them, but they're never stationary. They're never still. It's this constant movement back and forth. And some days are stormy, some days are sunshiny, and all the other good jazz analogy that you can make. But ultimately, it's a constant motion, constant flux. And the more that we can accept it, the easier it is.
Yeah, that's one of my good friends, Taylor. He always brings up about, notice how we never question what the river's doing, what the ocean's doing, what the trees are doing. The trees change. We go into fall, they change colors. We find a reason to be excited about what the change that's happening. Mm-hmm. We see that, that in the springtime, now, when the trees lose their leaves, okay, maybe it signifies something, but we don't fight that change. We don't like, why does this have to happen? No, we accept it. And yet within our own lives, we can't offer that same perspective.
Yeah.
We can do it in nature, like no problem. It's easy. We sit, and I find it fascinating. It's just part of the human condition that if we could just view ourselves and our relationships and, everything that we do during the day with the same sort of instinct that we do with, that we just instinctively know that these changes in nature are going to happen. They happen regularly. They happen all the time. And if we really look at it, the same thing happens in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But it is interesting how our brains at times, some of the just weird roadblocks that our own brains just throw up there for no real reason. Like on Salty Language this week, our question of the week was like, when someone returns a dish to you, do you rewash it even if they tell you it's clean? And I've been talking with people on Twitter and different stuff, and it's an overwhelming majority is yes. And it's like, why don't we trust anyone that dish is clean?
Funny.
Like you'll go to someone's house, and if they hand you a dish for dinner and say, this is clean, put your food on it, you don't go wash it. You don't question it. Unless you see something on it or something, like that. Yeah. But otherwise, you just accept, oh, this is clean, and you eat on it and you go about your business. But why is it that so many people, if they hand you a dish back and say, this is clean, we will go, oh, yeah, and you set it on the counter, and the second they're out the door, you go over and you'll put it with the dirty dishes or you'll go clean it.
Oh, that's funny.
It's such a weird mental block, and I don't understand it. It's so funny how we just cannot seem, or the people I've talked with, most of us cannot, and I'm myself included, I'm one of those people that, like Tony and I said, basically it's like, if it's our moms, we trust it. If it's anyone else, pretty much no. Even though I know it. If Jen handed me a dish and said it's clean, I know deep down she cleaned it. But for some reason, I'm still going to go wash it. You know? I don't know why. But it'll bug me if I don't. Like, I'll see that dish, and I'll probably, like, work around that dish. Like, if it's stacked up, I'll grab the one underneath it. Because in my head, it would be like, that might not be clean. It's so stupid, but it's a very common thought. It's so weird. So, number 7 on here is ingenuity. One of the gifts of any challenge is that we need to be a little more creative, which can in itself be a source of pride and joy. If you've ever made a full meal on a day when you really needed to go grocery shopping, you know what I mean. My mother has a special phrase for this. Not bad for a throw together. Yeah, amen to that. Been plenty of those I've consumed over the years. Think of this as your throw together. Your chance to do more with less. To find beauty and simplicity. To make the best of what you have and maybe even start new traditions. I'm guessing you may have mastered the art of online connection this year. So now take it to the next level. How can we celebrate in creative ways with people from afar? And how can you honor the people right in front of you, even if they're only some of the ones you love? As for me, I'm planning to just focus on the excitement of my son's second Christmas, since I think he'll appreciate it more this year. I'm going to ask my brother to Zoom watch A Very Brady Christmas with me, since we're dorks and watch it every year. And I'll portal with my family on Christmas morning when they open the gifts I sent them, so it will kind of be like I'm there. And I think that was a great point. That is definitely something through quarantine and this pandemic that we've really seen is how people have adapted to still try to be social, work, just all these different things. And it's like, well, how can we still do these things without, and still have some feeling that it's our normalcy, but it's tough. But what is it, the old saying that necessity is the mother of all invention, basically. And that's really what this is I kind of feel like as humans, we haven't really had to use our ingenuity as much because we keep getting handed these amazing technological things that do so much for us that I feel like for the most part, it's almost like we're finding how fast we can race to quit using our brains. But but by using our brains to create these things, but we're hitting a point to where I don't think, and the best example I can give of this is when we were kids, we had to go outside and play with basically nothing, We had toys, yes, but we would go out and make up stuff. Like our parents would go out and play with less than we had, and make up things. And do all this kind of stuff. Or even when I played with like my action figures or Hot Wheels or whatever, I made up things to go with all of that. Scenarios and battles and all this stuff. And a lot of it now, it's just kind of handed to you because it's all on your phone or a video game or whatever, So I feel like we don't have to, and don't get me wrong, a lot of games force you to come up with, puzzle solving and all this kind of stuff. But it's just, I don't feel like it's the same. So now I think we're at a point where people are getting to exercise that muscle a little bit again that we kind of have let lapse a little bit. So I think it's good for us as a people to have to kind of be creative again and really come up with ways to work around the convenience that we've gotten so accustomed to. Mm. And now the last point here, which... big surprise, mindfulness. So here we are at the end of a strange, painful year, staring down months of uncertainty and potential stress and struggle. No one would fault us for looking back. It's like there's a massive multi-car pileup behind us. It's hard not to gawk. And no one would be surprised if we anxiously looked ahead, worrying about the potential for more accidents down the road. But right now, many of us are sitting safely in our cars with heat and music and at least one person we love to play car games with and pass the time. I realize this isn't true for everyone. You may not have your needs met right, and you may feel unsafe in your home. If that's you, please know there are resources out there to support you. There's 2 links in the story for that. And again, the story link will be in the show notes. If it's hard, be good to yourself, then try again. Try to see the beauty right in front of you, even if you have to look harder. Try to hear the magic in the music that's playing, even if you wish you could belt out the lyrics with someone who's far away. Take some deep breaths. Take an inventory of what's going on, or everything that's going well, and then just let yourself be there in the moment, enjoying whatever's here to be enjoyed. What is it? Oh, I think one of the gifts of especially trying times is that we reminded of things that are always true, but we often forget. That life is short. Nothing is guaranteed. Every moment with the people we love is precious, and each day is ultimately what we make of it. I know it's easier for some than others to make the best of the life they're living, because life is different for all of us. But I also know when I remember these things, I feel a lot more present, peaceful, and alive. And that's the best way to appreciate the life we're currently living, to choose to fully live it. Finn.
It's funny how it all kind of ties into that reading that I started the show with.
Yeah.
It's an inside job, and we can choose how we want our reality to be. It's our choice whether we want to be negative, whether we want to be positive. And it's our choice whether we want to resist. I had a friend in sobriety who's a stockbroker by trade, and he likes to use his stockbroker references and the money references. And one of them is, you'll hear often when they talk about the markets that the resistance level, and you need to break through the resistance. And as she mentioned it here too, is that these resistance levels are typically self-induced. We're our own resistance. Nobody's limiting us except us.
Right. That's so true. There's so many barriers in life, and that's one of the things I've talked about in therapy various times, where I'll just be mentioning something and my therapist will be like, you do know you put that there, right? Like kind of like no one put that hurdle in front of you. You chose that, not, so it's like, oh yeah, I did.
And again, how awesome. Because guess what? You can move the hurdle.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
When I assign the hurdle to other people, well, I have no control over what other people do.
Mm-hmm.
Make them move the hurdle.
Right.
But what great news is when I realize it's my own hurdle. Well, then I'll move it.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, oh, wait, I don't have to go over it?
Oh, I can go around the wall instead of slamming my head right in the middle of it?
Huh.
What a revelation.
Yeah. It's amazing how that is, but how also it can take you a while to get to that. Like, you'll slam your head 5 times before you realize it,
But that's that whole part about live your life, mess it up, learn from it.
Yeah. Mess it up again.
Yeah.
That's
too. And be gentle with yourself and be kind with yourself. And but like we always talk about, find your wins. Grab them, hold on to them, but also learn from your mistakes and don't beat yourself up. Be kind about your mistakes, but try to learn from them. Because if we really do take an honest look back, we'll see the patterns. We'll see where we did it wrong, and we'll see where it turned out right, and we can apply that to the next time.
Yep. That's exactly how Invention works. Is you try something, you fail, you go, okay, what didn't work? You change that variable or whatever, and then you try the next thing. Did it work? No. Okay, what didn't? You just keep going through. Eventually, hopefully, you find what does work, or if not, at some point, you realize it's time to cut your losses. But even still, there's plenty of inventions that didn't become successful inventions, but they became the ground floor for other successful inventions. So they're still learning, even if in the end you go, well, this was, this never came to fruition, but it's still technically not a failure because it did lead to this or this or this,
Edison thing, like he didn't fail 1,000 times. He just came up with 1,000 other ways to make a light bulb that didn't work.
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing, but it's something like that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's true. Anyone who's created anything knows you you throw a bunch of stuff at the wall, you fail, things don't work right, and then eventually, you have a breakthrough somewhere, and then
he learned 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb.
yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
And the same thing like with the one that you'll see often is Abraham Lincoln, and how many things did he fail at until he became president.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's that same kind of perspective. It's just the learning. Those were all parts of the experience to eventually get to that one's place. And that's why it's worth from my own self is I don't, the whole thing with sobriety is I don't close the door on it. I don't wallow in it. I don't grab it, but I let it be there because it's part of my path and it's part of my journey.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guys, what do you think?
Bueno.
You good?
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's that
holidays.
Well, folks, it's that time of night. You know what time it is. If you'd like to continue the conversation with us, you know what to do. You can reach us at thecrazylifepodcast.weebly.com is our website. Thecrazylifepodcast@outlook.com is our email address. If you'd like to talk with me direct, feel free to reach out to me on the Twitters. It's Jen's Crazy Life. That's Jen with a G. You can reach me there. And if you'd like to hear more from me, you can also hear me on Shake the Sheets. It's a talk podcast. I can't even talk right now. It's a pop culture talk podcast that I do with my co-host Nate. And I know Brian keeps trying to get me to switch up how I say that because it'll be much easier if I do it another way. But I'm a glutton for punishment.
I can't help but laugh because you keep tripping up when you're talking about it being a talk podcast and you can't talk.
I can't talk about it. I know.
That's why I love it. Yep.
So, with that, Henno, how can they reach you?
You can find me on Twitter at IdaHenno. And you can find me on Facebook, Henno Highter, Facebook Messenger, and Instagram, and I'm all over everywhere in some way, shape, or form. And speaking of Christmas and holiday music, Friday, Moving the Needle is going to release we did another music episode. It was all Christmas songs we hate.
Nice.
And it was really fun. We had a great time, and Stephanie came back to the show.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, last night, and we had our friend Carmelita on the show too.
Nice.
So, and Roy is doing better, and he was on the show, and it was really a great time, and we had fun. So we were supposed to record this last week, and I was going to have time to do it, but now I'm going to get it out by Friday. So look for it on Friday. It'll be a fun episode. You'll enjoy it.
Awesome.
Very cool. And Brian, how can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Stunami. You can find the other podcast I'm on at salty_language or at saltylanguage.com. That show is not safe for work. And we just talk about whatever catches our eyes in the news, weird news, pop culture, just whatever it is that we notice. And we just have a good chat. Oh, man, I am so out of it. Just completely blanked. You can find this show on Twitter at The Crazy Life Pod, where I post when new episodes go up. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/Crazy Life Podcast. You can, or please go check out the network we're part of, Tangent Bound Network, which can be found at tangentboundnetwork.com. So please go check out other shows over there. Please rate, review, and subscribe if you haven't already. We would appreciate that. And tell your friends, if you would. Share episodes that they may find relevant. If you just search by or by the keyword or the topic you're looking for, I usually title the episode based on those. So, yeah, please go check that out. Or check those out, I should say. And, if you need help, please reach out. There's all sorts of help out there for you, no matter what it is. Mental health, there's all sorts of resources out there for other stuff too. I know a lot of people are finding and using those resources this year, and I wish we didn't have to, but I'm glad a lot of them are there. So if you're in a position of need, please reach out to someone and just find out if there's something that can help you out. You're not alone. Don't feel like you're a burden. And, please don't be afraid to ask for help. Like I said, there's a lot of people out there willing to help, or even if they can't help, they might be able to point you towards someone who can. So please do that. And, as I kind of mentioned earlier, if you're in a position that maybe you can give and help out, some people this year, please do so. Any year, but this year, we all know somebody who's struggling right now. So if you can help out, please do. And also, a lot of people won't ask for help even though they need it. So, even if you have to be a little sneaky about helping, sometimes, sometimes an anonymous, basket of food or an anonymous gift card in the mail or something like that can really help somebody out. I forgot. I actually finally have seen one of those situations where someone does something like that in person. I've never seen anyone pay for the person behind them or any of those kind of things, but I was at a grocery store and there was a woman who had a cart full of food, and when she got up to the line, a woman walked up to her and just handed her something and said, "Merry Christmas." And the woman goes, "What's this?" And the woman just goes, "Merry Christmas." And when the woman took it and opened it, it was a gift card of some sort, which I'm assuming was a large value because the woman instantly started sobbing. And was like, I can't take this. And the other woman was like, "I said Merry Christmas and you accepted it." So, and just,
Christmas.
she just walked away. And
that's beautiful.
So like I said, I don't know how much, and who cares if it's $5, if it's $1,000, whatever it is, whatever it was. Clearly, this was somehow this woman had, either knew the woman or knew she was in a position of need and helped out. So, that's awesome. So, but it doesn't have to be. We had Tony and I talked on Salty Language. There was someone who just left a $5,000 tip at a local restaurant for them to split up amongst all the workers. And it doesn't have to be anything that huge, but, even if it's an extra few bucks you throw on a tip somewhere or whatever, just, if you can help somebody out, please do it, and don't beat yourself up if you can't, just do what you can. And we know a lot of people are struggling. I just always feel this need pulling at me to try to help whenever I can. So, I just ask others to do so. And then, of course, please be kind. In the event you don't listen to our next episode before a holiday thing, please try to avoid drama at your family stuff. If things get too hot and heavy, we've done an episode on how to readjust the conversation a little bit, or, if you have to, just walk away. But don't let drama and conflict get to at your family gatherings and stuff if you can help it. And once again, please be kind, show empathy, and yeah, that's it.
All right, with that, everybody, go out there, have the best week you possibly can, and I'm going to mix it up a little bit here and say, I'm proud of you. You woke up, you did a good job today. Everyone needs to hear it. So I'm proud of you. Have a good one, folks.